20 minutes was spent at the lake, 10 minutes I was spent in the bathroom. So that literally only leaves 15 minutes of something that can't be explained. Because even in that 15 minutes, I'm doing CPR. I'm trying to understand what's going on with her.
It can be explained.
How do you want me to explain it to you?
With what
I told you everything.
This is 27-year-old Travis Ray Thompson sitting inside an interrogation room, and he just told detectives he would never hurt anyone he loves in a rather frustrated tone. But what investigators would uncover after a series of investigations told a very different story, and in the end, all the evidence pointed one way.
And then we progressed and we found significant, but maybe it is. Because that's what we find sometimes too, is something that happened that...
On May 2nd, 2022, deputies with the Marion County Sheriff's Office were notified by hospital staff after a 2-year-old child, Jacqueline Schwingle, was brought in unresponsive. Doctors quickly realized the internal bleeding and her other injuries were not consistent with an accident, and that's when they reported a case of possible abuse to law enforcement. The officers immediately swung into action as they proceeded to the family's neighborhood to mark the beginning of their investigation.
All right, I need your help.
Okay.
Lot 62. Do you know who lives there?
Christian. Christiangane.
Anybody else?
I don't check on them, but she could have a boyfriend or husband, I don't know.
But she's the only one registered to that?
Yeah, that's the one that registered.
Okay. Alright. So I guess, in a nutshell, that somebody that does not go by that name is down in Waterman right now with a small kid, and the small kid might not make it.
Ooh.
So
Was it abuse or something?
we don't know.
Don't know.
We have another deputy heading down to Waterman now. So
This man just crazy where we live in.
okay.
Ain't it getting worse?
Where's lot 62 at?
Yeah, I'll take you back.
Well, you just show me. I don't want
Okay,
to.
62. It's right here.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, how are you?
Hey.
Hey, what lot is this?
61.
61. Is that 62?
How do the lot numbers go, Robert? Mr. Robert?
How are you doing, sir?
He's over visiting. He lives over there.
Do you live next door?
No.
He's over that way.
So I'm assuming this is lot 62?
What's yours, 10 and 60?
61.
Yeah, that'd be 62 over there.
So you don't live here? You live somewhere else?
I live right across the street, but it goes that way, I
The
think.
numbers are on the ground right
Do you know who lives here?
now. A couple with kids.
How many kids?
How many kids do they have? Two? Two.
Do you know their names?
Uh-huh.
When's the last time you saw them?
Wow.
I haven't seen him today.
Somebody said
Yeah,
yesterday?
because he lives over there. He just comes over and visits.
And the reason nobody's in trouble, but the reason I'm being one of the small kids is at Waterman's hospital and not doing too good.
Oh no.
So I need to figure out who lives here. Is the
guy's
Jeep
name is Travis. Here, I'll tell you who can
the
help
guy's name is Trevor?
you. Travis, I think.
Travis. Hello. You don't live here, right?
No, sir.
Okay. You live here? You live over there. Trying to get my direction over here. Here, let's go back out here. Do you know these people that live here?
I work for his aunt and uncle.
Okay. What's his name?
You guys stays here?
Yeah.
It's Travis. I don't know what his last
Do
name
you know
is.
the female's name?
No, I don't. What's Jack?
Trix.
Huh?
Trix.
Trish?
No, I'm actually looking for but does she stay here?
Sometimes. Usually she's with her grandparents, I believe.
When was the last time you saw
I'll say this morning.
her? This morning?
Yeah.
Okay. And what I was telling her, the reason I'm here is one of the small kids is in Waterman right now, not doing too good.
Okay.
So there might be suspicions of some other stuff going on.
Okay.
Weapons to maybe possibly abuse.
Okay.
Have you seen anything? Or?
No, I have not.
Okay. And
Yeah, I mean, Jake
What's the
does.
matter?
Aubrey.
No, one of the little kids is in Waterman, not doing too good. So there might be some underlying issues that I'm here to investigate. So that's why I was asking if did you see any abuse happening? Did you see anything?
As a mom,
Yes,
and
please. Anything
me
to help
and
me right
Adam
now.
do see them outside unsupervised often.
Any physical stuff?
No, but we do see them unsupervised quite often, and we'll like talk to them and
Sure.
stuff.
How many
like
kids stay here?
2.
And just Jacqueline's?
Eventually, the family came back home, and the officers temporarily marked the area a crime scene as they proceeded with their investigation.
Are we still waiting for somebody else?
No, I'm just waiting on them to do their thing, and then once they're ready, then.
What happens is, she's going around now. They take photographs of everything outside. What we'll do is we'll go in and help, get the dog. And then what we'll do is they'll just take overall pictures of the inside of the house before anything's loose. That way we can document exactly how everything is. And then from there, he has the doll where he'll have Travis, correct? Is it Travis? He'll have Travis do like the recreation as well as so it just takes a minute to get. Again, it's all about coming to that resolution, trying to find out exactly what happened, so we document pictures, everything, how it is.
Do I get to go inside when they do that? That's all.
We should be.
Both parents were eventually brought in for questioning, and from the start, Travis Thompson told investigators he'd been alone with Jacqueline. He claimed everything was normal until he suddenly noticed something was wrong. But according to Travis, he couldn't explain how she was injured.
Tell and describe to me specifically what was going on from the moment you opened your eyes yesterday.
When I opened my eyes, I got Jay up, got him ready for school, took him to the bus stop, we waited, we talked a little bit about just, he thinks Batman's the greatest hero ever, and it's like money's not a superpower, Superman's the greatest. And that whole kind of thing, that the bus pulled up, I was like, alright, here's your bus, have a good day at school, gave me a fist bump, gave me a hug, we got on the bus, I went back, took out my firearms because they were going to be cleaned, but then I was like, no, never mind, I want to lay back down. I laid back down, and then Kristen was late for work because at that point it was like 8:30, she had to be there at like 9, but she just decided to be late, so then we both got up. Jen was already awake, got her up, she wanted to go outside, play with the chicken and the duck. They did that, I made coffee. Me and Kristen drank our coffee, smoked a cigarette. Me and Jacqueline went down to the lake while she went to work, and then after we came back, I put her on the couch to watch Cat Dog. She had her drink. I told her the Cheez-Its were right there. If you want some, help yourself. I don't care. She was with Luca. I had to use the bathroom. I was in there for about 10 minutes, and then I heard her collapse on the floor. So when I looked out, through where the doorknob would be, she was just like laying on the floor. I'm like, hey, you all right? She didn't respond, so I hit the door up, and I was like, hey, you all right? She still wasn't responding, so I flushed, pulled my pants up, ran over to her, and she was like making a gurgling sound, like I thought she probably swallowed some water down the wrong tube or something, but that wasn't the case, because when I picked her up, she was limp, she wasn't breathing. So I called Kristen immediately, said, you need to come home, like there's something going on. She's like, what's going on? I was just like, do you not hear her? She's literally trying to like breathe, and she's not breathing, so I started doing CPR. Kristen was on her way. I hit the door open to see if like any of the neighbors were around, but there was no one home. So I just kept doing CPR. When I tried to call 911, they didn't even dial. It didn't even go through. It didn't do anything. Mm-hmm. So I was just like, all right, so this is bad. This is bad. So I just kept doing the CPR. I kept checking to see if she was breathing. She was barely breathing, but she had a good heart rate, and that's pretty much like the main thing of what I knew that was a good sign to have. So I kept her heart rate up. I made sure that she was still kind of breathing. And so when Kristen got back, we loaded her up. I told her to just keep breathing into her mouth, keep doing the compressions, because like she's not breathing on her own. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what happened. Mm-hmm. And so when she told me that she stopped breathing, we got on hold of 911 again, told them we needed an ambulance. They met us en route to the hospital, met us at Old Crow Barbecue Restaurant.
Okay.
And then from there, they told me they're just like lay her down on the ground, do these compressions. I'm like, I'm already doing that. I just need an ambulance.
And you're on the phone with 911 at this point?
Yes.
Okay, well, the good news is I can go through the 911 audio for that part. So let's jump back to whenever you guys are both having your coffee and smoking a cigarette.
Okay.
Where's Jacqueline at then?
She's over like 5 feet away playing with the chicken in the duck.
Okay. And then after you guys did that, I think you said that Kristen was running late for work, but then did she leave after coffee?
Yes.
Okay.
Because that's when someone else mentioned lupus too, but I was like, there's no way. Or it's SIDS, and it's like, see, but no, she's 2, and then they told me that like it's a 60% chance between kids that are like 4 months old and 6 years old. I'm like, I don't exactly know that because I don't have kids.
Is Kristen concerned that maybe you did something?
No.
Okay. Has she accused you of anything or anything like that?
No.
All right. Have you ever been in a situation where you've been worried about accused of like abusing a child or hurting a child or anything like that in the past?
I have.
Is Kristen aware of that?
Yes.
Okay. So I haven't had a chance to talk to her yet, but I didn't know if that was going to be something that comes up. So she's aware of that. What was the outcome of that? Tell me about that.
I'm not exactly sure. It was a restraining order that I didn't get until 4 years later.
As the interview continued, detectives began laying out what doctors had found. Detectives would soon explain to him that the story he told didn't line up with the evidence.
Figure out where those came from. So,
What injuries?
well, and that we'll get there. So has she fallen anytime recently? I know when I talked to you last, there was one incident in a McDonald's where she
That
stood
would
up
be
and
the
hit her
last
head
one
on the
that I know
table.
of. But other than that, she stayed at her mom's, and I'd stayed at like my mom's like one night, and then I've been there mostly by myself for the past week. There wasn't until like 3 day, like
You've been in
4 day
the camper by
period.
yourself.
Yeah, pretty much
Okay.
at this point. Yeah, kind of.
Alright. So at what point did Kristen and come back to the camper?
Friday.
Okay.
It came Friday or Saturday, because we went to a church event Saturday, and then the same day we went to Juniper Springs.
Okay.
And then after that,
So they stay Saturday night?
yeah, they stayed Saturday and Sunday night, and then they stayed Monday night, but I'm pretty sure they went somewhere, but pretty sure Friday or Saturday, yeah, it was Friday.
Occurred. I don't see how there could possibly be an accident, Travis.
I'm not sure either. I'm not sure what these injuries would be.
Well, we haven't got to talk to Kristen about it yet. That's next up. But in these kind of cases where someone has passed away, I've been doing this for years. If someone passes away, we always give them an opportunity to clear their name. I've had cases where I take somebody down the hall and we put them on a polygraph, and whenever they pass the polygraph, obviously they can tell their loved one, spouse, girlfriend, I didn't do anything wrong in this. They even gave me a polygraph down the hall. This sounds like a good case here where we would offer that to you. If I were to put you on a polygraph right now and ask
What
you,
is that?
oh, it's the lie detector,
Oh.
like the scientific name for it. If we were to just ask you, on the polygraph, did you hurt?
No, never.
So that's a question that we would be interested in knowing, because this injury that is to her body, whenever the doctors looked at it, whenever they did the autopsy, they were looking at this injury and they're going, this injury doesn't seem to make any sense with this sitting on a futon and getting hurt thing, and you're with her.
It was something from before when she wasn't in my care.
So that's why a polygraph, a lie detector, would be so telling, because if it's outside of your care and you have nothing to do about it, the guy that does the polygraph, that's not us, it's somebody that knows how to work that machine. They'll be able to look at it and they'll be able to get a better understanding for that. You know what I mean? It's something that I've seen people be able to tell their families, their loved ones, look, I did this and my name's clear on this. Would that be something that you'd be interested in doing today?
Not exactly, because I know within myself, and God knows that I would never do anything to harm these children.
Okay. Well, see, the thing is I don't know you that well. Detective King doesn't know that well, and it's something we can't make you do, but it's always something that I offer. And I know that sometimes family will ask us, well, why can't you just polygraph them? Why can't you just have them do that? And we go, well, we offered the gosh darn thing, and then he said, or she said, I've had...
Look, I'm not going to lie, I already expected that this was going to be something that was going to happen.
What is it? Why? What's that?
Because that's normally how it goes, that's just my luck. People think that I always have something to do with it, that I'm just mean, horrible person, this and that, but literally
I
straight
didn't
up,
say
I haven't
you
done
had-
nothing.
I didn't say you had anything to do with
You
it.
haven't struck me
Well,
the whole interview as
what
someone
we're trying to do
horrible.
is figure out where this came from.
I
Because
don't know what it is.
the injury that she has does not, it doesn't correlate with the story.
But I don't know what the injury is.
Okay.
So how am I
Right.
supposed to tell you if I don't know?
Well, anything at all that I know, because I have a few kids, anything at all that you can think of that you moved her, touched her in some way that would cause a bone to break. Without saying what bone, because I don't want to let all the cats out all the bags, but there is a bone that's broken on her body. It's a very important bone. And can you think of anything that obviously would cause a 2-year-old, almost 3-year-old's bone to break? It would be a significant amount of force, more so than just sitting on a futon. And that's why we're just trying to figure out if there was something that you had left out earlier. And look, I understand sitting here talking to a couple of detectives, you got your girlfriend of a year, she's trying to find herself, and you were watching her child, there's a lot of pressure on you that you maybe had forgot something or had left something out, which it can be clarified right now. And I get that. I've done this long enough to know. I just kind of want to start over again and see if there was something that happened. Did you pick her up and you move her around some way? Did
No,
she?
I was very delicate with the child.
Okay.
And what he's getting at is, so the first time I talked to you, remember, that your day started with, right?
Yeah.
And then we progressed and we found, I forgot, I took Jason to the bus stop, okay? So, and then that progressed a little more, and then we get the information about, when I came back from dropping off at the bus stop, I grabbed my guns out of the cabinet, and that's why they're on the floor next to the bed. That's what he's getting at, is there's things that as you're thinking, you might say, maybe that is something that I forgot. Maybe I don't think it's significant, but maybe it is. Because that's what we find sometimes too, is something that happened that, for he and I, I ate breakfast and weren't. Well, I forgot, I dropped the fork twice. Things like that you may have forgotten to mention. That's why we're here, that's why we're sitting here talking to you, is we want to clarify that information. We want to make sure that we have all the answers. And what I can't quite figure out is this injury. I'm not seeing a correlation of what I'm right. And I'm not seeing the correlation between that injury and your recollection of what happened. And I'm wondering if there's something missing, if there's something you forgot, if there's something you might be worried about, any of that.
No, I'm worried about what happened.
And that's why we're here.
Are you a victim of child abuse yourself?
Yes. Why would I want to inflict that on anybody else?
Well, that's what I'm trying to find out here, is if something had happened to you as a child and it was traumatic, it can change the wires in our brain. That's what traumatic usually is. It means it affects people different ways. People that go to war come back with PTSD.
That used to affect me as a child, but then that cycle was broken by a very good family member of mine, my Uncle Andy. He talked me through a lot. He taught me a lot.
Sort of like counseling. Sounds like his family member gave you some
the only
counseling.
one that actually understands. You can call him if you want.
And I've been doing this so long that I've seen people, unfortunately, they get so frustrated with something, whether it be a girlfriend or a family member, that they've done things that they regret or a mistake they made. When I was on the road, I used to work.
Take my anger out on a child or anybody else.
Well,
I just leave.
Yeah, when I was on the road, I used to see people get in these arguments with family members, their mom, their dad, their girlfriend, and they would push or hurt somebody, and they don't even mean to even lash out with their body, but they are, and then they would forget, and then somebody would show me a cell phone video.
Jacqueline's injuries were caused by significant force injuries that could not be explained by a fall or an accident inside the home. This was the first moment Travis's explanation began to unravel.
If a number is tried, it could be completely disconnected from service, and you try to call a phone number, and it will log that it is trying to call that phone number.
Fail immediately.
If those numbers are typed in and you hit the green phone button, it immediately logs that into the phone logs, and there's no log of that.
Whether or not it connects to the tower, the phone's still trying on the device, but it doesn't get to the tower. But the phone would still have it on the log, is what he's trying to say.
And if that's something that you forgot,
I wouldn't forget.
You remember that you tried it
call
then?
911. That's what I tried to do.
Because I show where you tried to call 911 one time, right before you actually got on the phone with them when y'all stopped at the Old Crow. Yeah. I see that, where you made an attempt, but there was no connection made, okay? There's none of that in that log from when you were in the trailer. I've looked at it. Another detective has looked at it. Our digital forensic technician has looked at it. There's no log in that phone of it trying to call 911 from the camper. There's none.
Well, that doesn't make any sense to me, because I know I tried calling 911.
And if, like you mentioned, we're talking about the polygraph. You've taken a lie detector test,
Yeah.
okay? Right now, I've got some information here that it looks like something's missing, right? You agree with that?
It does, but I'm telling you, I don't know.
And that, for your own protection, you want to go down there and sit down with that detective in there and go through that process with him and show, hey, look, I passed it. I'm telling you the truth. This is exactly what happened. Then I take that and say, yeah, okay.
But I don't need a polygraph test to tell you that.
I don't know you any better than you know me.
It's just another way that we
Yeah,
can
but how
explain
would I
things.
know you guys aren't trying to turn anything around to use against me?
Well, the good news is the person is doing it is not involved in the case at all, and he just does polygraphs literally all day. That's his only job. He's not like a detective that reads reports or does anything. The guy does polygraphs. So he's the one that's going to read the results. He's the one that does it, and we're not even in the room when it happens. But like I said, there's a piece of paper that's generated at the end, and it has things that he understands on it, and he is able to talk to us about. So I understand your concerns regarding that, but I mean, when the guy's not doing polygraphs for cases that we ask him to help out with, people that want to clear their name for things, he's also doing the lie detecting for people that are trying to get hired here. That's all he does. And so he's sort of like someone that we can go to and just consult with regarding cases where there's this thing that doesn't make any sense, because it doesn't make any sense.
I understand, but at the same time, this sounds like a setup.
Well, what do you mean, what kind of setup?
I don't know, like you guys are trying to get me for something. I've told you everything that I know.
Well, here's what I'm trying to get. I'm not trying to get you for anything in particular. You don't strike me, as long as we've been talking, you don't strike me as this guy that's like trying to attack me or yell at me or fight me or as some kind of monster. You strike me as an individual that something happened that's being left out, because this injury to the child is not being explained at all from what we've learned so far.
Yeah, but when she was in my possession, in my care, she didn't fall, she didn't have anything going on.
And that's why I'm wondering if there's some time whenever you had to discipline her and something got out of hand, she got hurt or something like that, and you're leaving it out. And I understand you leaving it out, because I wouldn't want to lose the person I'm in a relationship. I wouldn't want to have that stress or that shame or that embarrassment on me.
Investigators pointed out a delay between when Travis said something was wrong and when help was finally called. Phone records showed activity, but no immediate call for emergency assistance. On top of that, Travis refused a polygraph test, which further raises serious questions.
And that's what I'm trying to get here is, are you this like 1% of the people that I talk to that actually doesn't care at all about what they did? That
Of course I care.
They go out and they find kids to just take out their anger on, or are you somebody that was abused as a child, went through physical abuse, has, I don't know, problems with taking care of children, which is why there was something in the past that happened?
This is literally crazy. This is literally crazy.
Well, yeah, I don't think it's actually crazy, because when I think crazy, I think like schizophrenia. Do you have schizophrenia? Do you have bipolar disorder?
No.
I also spent a little bit of time while you were talking in there about the prior case where you sat down on a child's arm and it broke the child's arm or something.
Yeah, that one I can admit that I was not paying attention.
And tell us, whenever you got back in there and you got back in from the walk and you're pushing her in the car, was she showing signs of being hurt at that point?
No, but the night before she said that her stomach hurt and she refused to eat. And there's been times where she would even say, my back hurts. And like even me and her would like you're only 2, how does your back hurt?
Okay. When would that come up? Because that's the first time I've heard that.
I mean, we talked about hair coming out. We talked about all kinds of stuff. I don't remember talking about that.
Yeah, the point is she would just be like, oh, my throat hurts, my back hurts. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, you've done nothing. You just got out of bed. Why does your back hurt? She'd walk around like her spine hurts or something, but yet she'd go outside and play. She'd go with her mom. She'd go with me to the store. Like, she was fine. And this only would come up when it came to eating or going to bed or just getting her to go play.
When was the last time this complaint occurred?
That's a mom question. I don't know. Because I have, in the last few times I saw him, like, I don't make him do anything. She told me I have no authority. I was like, okay, that's fine.
So what's the benefit of her, if it's happening when she's eating, going to bed?
Attention, mom's attention, I'm guessing. I'm not sure. Because that's what I've been trying to figure out as well. Because I'm just as suspicious as you guys. Like, I want to know, like, why do you keep saying your throat hurts? Why do you keep saying your back hurts? Because I see you play, and then you just want to go lay down, you don't want to move. And it's like...
So, have y'all tried to take her to the doctor for this, or?
That's a mom question. I don't know.
Well, I mean,
she suggested it, but then, like, she does the home remedy thing. So I don't know.
Okay.
I just continue doing what I'm doing.
Something that would be minor, like ouchies. This would be like, I'm in a lot of pain.
That's what
I'm not
I'm saying,
feeling good
so
at all.
it makes no sense to me, because if she had a broken bone, then she would definitely let you know, because then she wouldn't be moving, she wouldn't be walking, she would be crying constantly, saying, I hurt.
And these exact reasons, these things that you're telling us, is why I do not believe that we're talking about all true things. The things we're talking about are not true. And I believe that something happened. I'm hoping that it was an accident between you and her that would explain this, and we're just not covering it.
How is it not true?
So you said yourself that if she had a broken bone, that she would tell you.
Yes.
She would explain that, okay?
Well, she would explain it, but she would definitely
tell
make
you.
it clear.
She'd let
Signs
you
of
know.
saying that, hey, my back hurts, or she
Right.
would cry. I don't know. So what you're digging for, I'm digging for the same exact thing, because it doesn't make any sense to me that if she had all these broken bones and these were all so severe, why did they not show up on the x-rays or the CAT scans?
Let's forget about what the medical people did after
Because if it's
point.
that severe, they shouldn't just show up as blood vessels like you were telling
Sure.
me, or just little hairline fractures.
But
No, these are broken bones. These are broken bones.
Right, okay, let's not worry about what they saw at the hospital. That's not important. Let's cut the hospital out, and let's worry more about what the autopsy was done, which is much more obvious, and the fact that you were with her in the time that this very serious injury happens. Okay, let's not worry about what the hospital saw or didn't do. We're not worried about that. We're worried about what was seen at the autopsy after she had passed away, and then the fact that you were with her, and this injury is so serious that there's no way that she would be able to walk and move.
And there's no way that I can explain that to you.
Do you have like another personality? Do you like black out and lose track of what you're doing?
No.
Because that's what I'm not understanding here. You're either missing a huge portion of time, you're actually leaving out, and you're lying and not telling us about
this
something.
was all a 30 to 45 minute period. 20 minutes was spent at the lake, 10 minutes I was spent in the bathroom. So that literally only leaves 15 minutes of something that can't be explained. Because even in that 15 minutes, I'm doing CPR. I'm trying to understand what's going on with her.
It can be explained.
How do you want me to explain it to you?
With what
I've told you everything.
With what part of you was moving her, touching her, doing something to her?
As she was in that condition, I was very delicate. I didn't drag her around. I didn't just pick her up. No.
Whenever she went from the condition of I'm looking around, I'm lucid, to not being lucid.
Just have a minute.
Yep.
Wow, this is ridiculous.
Travis eventually suggested Jacqueline had complained of back pain in the past, but medical experts found no connection between those complaints and the fatal injuries. And of course, the mother debunked the claim almost immediately, after which Travis asked to leave. In a separate interview, Jacqueline's mother was informed of the findings.
This detective here is going to be helping me out some.
I'm Detective Andrew. I'm here helping out.
So I went to the autopsy this morning. I know that's your primary concern right now is the results of that. They are not official, and they haven't released a final finding. But I was at the autopsy, and I can't give you full information because it is still an investigation, but I can kind of give you an overview, kind of a summary of what's going on. I can tell you there is a significant bone break that we do believe is the cause of her passing. Okay?
Is there any clue as to when it happened?
The timeline that I'm looking at is after you left work.
And the reason that we're thinking some of these things is that do you have any history of being investigated for child abuse or anything like that?
No.
Okay. Has Travis had any history with that? Has he ever disclosed to you any prior investigations with detectives or police officers or child abuse or?
He told me before that he was with this girl, and she had 2 kids, and I met them. They actually lived with us for a little bit. Travis and Alexis were out back in the camper, and the kids were inside with us.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess at some point after they had moved out, the baby was on the couch, and he sat on the baby and hurt his arm.
Uh-huh.
And he admitted to that.
Yeah.
But I guess the baby had previous injuries. I don't know where they came from, who they came from, what happened. I don't even know what happened with that entire situation.
Okay.
I just know what he told me.
Okay. So like I said, we're trying to sort this out, and we're offering people that have to go through this. I know it's hard, but we offer them a lie detector to see whether or not they did any intentional or even unintentional injury to a child. We offer it in all of our cases. So would you be willing to take a lie detector if that's something that...
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I would do anything as long as I can get answers as to what happened.
All right.
Do you think anybody else that we've talked to would be willing to do that as well?
Yeah, I don't see why not.
Okay.
Do you think Travis would have any problems doing it or anything?
I don't think you really have much of a choice.
That's definitely a question no mother would want to ask. By the time investigators arrested Travis Ray Thompson about 4 months later, the evidence was clear. The medical examiner determined Jacqueline's injuries were not accidental, but the result of deliberate, forceful abuse. Investigators focused on the 37-minute delay before medical help was called, time prosecutors say may have cost her her life. They also uncovered text messages showing Thompson's anger over his breakup with Jacqueline's mother, along with his prior history of suspected child abuse, and a 2009 court injunction meant to keep him away from children. And most importantly, on the morning Jacqueline was injured, Thompson was the only person with access to her. It all pointed to one conclusion: Jacqueline was deliberately hurt in a fit of rage. But even after all this, Travis's explanation for what happened didn't change after his arrest.
We were on our way to walking to the lake. As she was leaving, that's when we were walking through the back lot of where our lot is, crossing the street. Get across the street, there's a trail that leads to the lake. You take a right, and then there's a whole little dock made of pallets and dead roots and stuff.
Okay, so you guys are going across the street, and then you go a little farther and then do a trail down to the lake. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, and when did you say a little car? Are you pushing her down there, or is she walking?
Yeah, she's pushing her.
Okay, so you're pushing her down.
She has this little toy car thing.
Okay, and how is she doing whenever you're pushing her in the little toy car?
She seemed perfectly fine. She was laughing. She was going vroom vroom. I was like, "What, do you want to go faster?" She's like, "Yeah." So all right, pick it up to a light jog.
Okay.
And then get down to the lake, and she's like, "Want to go fishing?" And it's like, "We'll have to wait till Mom gets back because I'm supposed to finish making the table that goes into a bed or whatever she wanted me to make it." I was just going to make it into a table because the first time I tried to make it, the suspension arms ripped the wood out of the wall, and campers only have very thin walls.
Okay. So when you guys are down here at the lake, is she in the water or anything like that?
No, I was holding her at that point because she can't stand on the ballards by herself.
Okay.
She gets her foot stuck.
When you say you're holding her, how are you holding her?
Just on my side.
Okay. And what clothes is she wearing when you're down there on the lake?
She had a little pink poncho, and she just had pants.
Okay. And did she ever go down in the water or play anything like that?
No.
So, did she walk around down there at all?
She walked up to the dock with me, but after that I was just like, well, you already know the deal, your feet get stuck, so let's go. Just picked her up, had her on my side, walked down there, we looked at the lake, she's like, frog? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, look, there's a fish. I'm like, look at all the water lilies. And she's like, I want one. I was like, I'll have to get those for you later, I'm not dressed for that right now.
Uh-huh. Okay.
And then we were there for 10, 20 minutes, and then we went back. And then I've already explained that part.
Got it. And we'll get over there. So whenever you guys went back, did you have to put her in the little cart, or did she walk back?
No, she got right back on her cart and said, vroom, vroom. I'm like, all right.
Vroom, vroom, and then back up to the house. Did you take the same path back up to the house?
Yeah.
All right, and when you got back to the house, you're there with the little cart. What happened next?
She got off. She wanted to feed the chicken ducks again, so I was like, all right, that's fine. I watched her throw some more pellets at the cage. I was like, you're supposed to open the door, but that's fine. It went in there. So then brought her inside. She wanted to watch Cat Dog, put her on the couch, gave her juice, and then I went to the bathroom, and then that
real quick before we keep going, the little path that goes to the lake, I just want to make sure I understand where that is. That's back behind y'all's trailer?
Yeah, if you saw where those boats were,
Okay.
if you ever walk back there, yeah, it's that path between the other RV that's right there and the boats. It's that path
Is
right
there like
there.
a tent right there? Kind of near the entrance now?
If you're thinking of a tent, that would be at the other entrance of the lake.
So there's two entrances.
See if there was something that happened. Did you pick her up and you move her around some way? Did
No,
she?
it's very delicate with the child.
And,
Okay.
and what he's getting at is, so the first time I talked to you, remember, that your day started with, right?
Yeah.
And then we progressed and we found, I forgot, I took Jason to the bus stop, okay? So, and then that progressed a little more, and then we get the information about, when I came back from dropping off at the bus stop, I grabbed my guns out of the cabinet, and that's why they're on the floor next to the bed. That's what he's getting at, is there's things that as you're thinking, you might say, maybe that is something that I forgot. Maybe I don't think it's significant, but maybe it is. Because that's what we find sometimes too, is something that happened that...
In June of 2025, a jury deliberated for less than 2 hours. Travis Ray Thompson was found guilty of first-degree murder while engaged in aggravated child abuse. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.